can hear their f***ing vehicles.
Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to Dead Malls, your one-stop shop for dead and abandoned malls you wouldn't find anywhere else on YouTube. In tonight's video, we officially kick off the Great Florida Expedition, where me and 3 other explorers packed into my car and drove 3 days straight across the Deep South, touring and camping at some of the wildest abandoned places I have ever seen in my life. And it wasn't just malls either. You'll see exactly what I mean by the end of this video. But tonight we're starting a whole new chapter. We're switching things up and telling the story of one of the most bizarre, fever dream-like trips I have ever taken. Before I spoil too much though, I want to give a quick shout out to our winner, who was able to successfully guess the next mall. Very nice job, Lost Mall 7. If you'd like to have your chance of being shouted out in the next episode, make sure you stick around for the next challenge. Now as the sun rises over the palm trees, let's slip through a rusty back door, uncover the story of this obscure mystery of a mall, dodge demolition workers, at least at first, and dive headfirst into the wild adventure that was Gateway Mall in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm so excited to finally start sharing the malls from the Florida Expedition and the rest of the Deep South. Tonight we kick off the story of the very first success of the trip, and trust me, there are plenty more to come. We rolled into Jacksonville bright and early on a cool March morning. A heavy fog hung low over the swampier parts of the city as we passed through, and then, almost like it appeared out of nowhere, the abandoned and long-forgotten Gateway Mall emerged from the mist, sitting quietly just off I-95. Gateway Mall is one that not many of you may have ever heard of, or even know of. In fact, if you're not local to the area, the thought of this abandoned mall has probably never even passed through your mind. But it did sit abandoned for years, with a fascinating story waiting to be told, just quietly waiting off the road. As we pulled up just before 7 a.m., we were debating our options for entry, even thinking about just asking demo workers if they'd let us inside for a tour if we slipped them a little dough. But we found this rusty, crusty back corridor instead, and an old back door which was just wedged open. In the intro, that's actually literally the raw audio of me and Ethan scouting it out just before we went back to get the others. Once inside, we found demo workers actively working just around the corner from where we were.
Yeah, I don't think they can see us actually.
Without getting caught.
If so, we'll just leave. We'll see it
As we discussed our moves and how we would progress about seeing the rest of the mall, I'll get started here with this place's history. And it begins just around 70 years ago. Well, actually even longer ago before that. Before the mall was built, the land carried a much darker history. Long ago, the area was known as the Peat Hills, or Peat Sand Dunes, Exactly what the name suggests, a stretch of sandy dunes rising from the swampy, tropical landscape of Jacksonville's north side. An oddity amongst the harsh, at the time untouched lands. However, these dunes weren't quite your average weekend getaway. The ground was instead for a long time home to the old Sandhills Hospital, and cemeteries tied to Jacksonville's yellow fever epidemics in the late 1800s and early 1900s. For decades, as newer subdivisions slowly itched further north and closer to the dunes, children would start to stumble across bones and relics buried in the sands. It's unclear just how many boneyards lie around the hills, but it could have possibly been the burial grounds of thousands of deceased individuals, as bones became a bit of an issue in the late 1950s. As during the mall's construction, children playing often dug up hundreds of bones, even finding skulls, which some of them brought to school. By the late 50s, though, change was quickly coming. Developer Sam Morris Spevak and his wife Elaine came across the dunes in the mid-50s, with their plans to bring the comfort of modern commerce to the suburban tropics. In 1959, after several years of construction, the dunes gave birth to the Gateway Shopping Center, a sprawling strip mall complex complete with Anchor's Food Fair, JCPenney, W.T. Grant, Winn-Dixie, and G.C. Murphy. Positioned right beside the brand new Jacksonville Expressway, soon to become I-95, Gateway was the North Side's bold answer to suburban shopping. Rising from the sandy ashes of past disasters, it stood fresh along the freeway as Jacksonville's proud vision of a suburban future, and the first major shopping center in the city to lure big-name retailers outside of downtown. It was such a success, in fact, that developers even began plans for the addition of an indoor mall portion. In 1967, after several years of work, Gateway Mall, the indoor portion of Gateway, would officially open its doors to the public, with Anchor's Montgomery Ward and JCPenney in the center, whom had just relocated from their smaller store across the complex, as well as stores like Orange Julius, Morrison's Cafeteria, and Strawberry Fields. The mall thrived into the 70s as one of the largest shopping destinations in the city. Since there's literally no historic photos of the inside of this place, I'm not sure what it used to look like. I can't imagine it always had these colors in the 60s, so if you remember, please leave a comment down below. Regardless, for decades, the bustling mall complex would serve as both a retail hub and a cultural landmark, setting the stage for a new era of growth and prosperity for the North Side.
I want to see what else is down there, and the only way to do that is to get caught.
Yeah, that's why I'm about to just go. Let's go.
I'm ready. Yeah, what's in there? Oh, these storefronts are so retro. The mirrored walls. Oh, dude, yeah, let's get in here. This is sick. This is so sick. Dude, this is scary as Were there no... Yeah, they could yell at you even badlier.
We'll just run.
Whoa.
They're working at 9 to 5 right now.
What's in here? Oh, dude, this is reminding me of the Yonkers at...
Lakeshore?
Yeah, with the stairs and...
Maybe let's just not go into the anchor store.
Yeah.
It seems like that's where they're all concentrated. I haven't seen anyone
See
come
how close
out.
we can get, you know?
Yeah, we'll play it safe.
It looks like the Fred boards are gone now, so we can come running with it.
The mirror is falling off of the pillar here.
The mid to late 70s was the peak of Gateway Mall's success era. It even garnered a further expansion with the addition of 40,000 square feet of shops opening in the parking lot in 1977. At that point, its anchor stores included JCPenney, May Cohen's, Service Merchandise, and Jefferson Ward, who had taken the place of Montgomery Ward. In all, 80 shops occupied the plaza and indoor mall. In 1984, Toronto-based Brimalea Limited, one of North America's largest real estate developers at the time, began eyeing Gateway Mall. That same year, they purchased the property from Swire Florida Inc., which had owned it since the mid-70s for around $17 million. At the time of the sale, Bramalea was a real estate powerhouse, managing over $2 billion in assets across 2 countries. Wanting to give them all a boost, they rebranded it as the Gateway Center, and poured over $2 million into a facelift. By 1985, new parking lots and redesigned storefronts meant to freshen things up and deter crime, and the lineup of new stores like Goscini Shoes, The Athlete's Foot, World Bazaar, Foot Locker, Walk King, and the Balloon Factory all helped the mall, pushing Gateway's roster to nearly 100 stores in total. But 1985 wasn't all growth. That same year, Jefferson Ward, a discount arm of Montgomery Ward, closed its doors. Luckily, the space didn't sit empty too long, as in 1986, it would be filled with a Zayre department store.
Dude, I'm scared.
Yeah, to those who haven't picked up on it, the demolition workers were literally right down that hallway, and you're gonna spot a few of them here in just a little bit, but really quick, check out this super old dusty athlete's foot, covered in mounds and mounds of dust. I wonder when this store closed. It had to have been ages ago.
These benches are dust. Oh my gosh, dude, this place is... Look at the Athlete's Foot logo.
Just how many times can you spot the demo workers here coming up? Like shadows, they clung to the gutted remains of this old JCPenney anchor on the right, so see if you can spot them. I let Ethan go ahead of me, and we decided that if we just walked with enough confidence and looked legit enough, that they probably wouldn't say anything. And we could always just run out one of these mall entrances, since they were now both wide open at this point. Thankfully, it never came to that and we didn't have to run. Instead, going forward, they were all pretty chill. Also, I know you guys love the music in the videos, but I had to throw in just quite a bit of this raw mall ambience so you can get a vibe of that McDonald's simulator that they're working with in here, with all the alarms going off. This place was kind of a torment. I'm sure any workers from fast food restaurants, they'd feel PTSD just being in this place at any time at all.
Yeah? Nobody said anything? They're saying something now. I heard them shouting something. Open door right here. Oh, it's gutted. No, literally look like you have business here. Look official. Dude, if they ask me what I'm doing, I say, dude, I'm working with the city. This is the final walkthrough. I'm filming for their YouTube channel.
By the late 1980s, Gateway still looked semi-solid on the surface, but the cracks were definitely showing. In 1988, longtime anchor May Cohen's, briefly rebranded as Mason Blanche, shut down, followed closely by the closure of G.C. Murphy. Then in 1990, Ames, which had taken over Zayre, also pulled out. One by one, anchor stores vanished, mostly due to corporate mergers and their inevitable bankruptcies, leaving massive vacancies on the directory. The real blow, however, came in 1992, when Service Merchandise closed, followed shortly after by JCPenney, which relocated to Dunn Avenue. That single move of JCPenney leaving gutted Gateway's foot traffic and left the indoor malls struggling to survive as national retailers quickly left, leaving the mall for newer, larger, and more modern centers like Orange Park and Regency Square. Gateway was simply left in the dust of its old age. By 1995, owner Bramalea defaulted on their mortgage, and the mall went into receivership. In 1997, it was sold for just $2.4 million to the Gateway Center Economic Development Partnership, a mere fraction of what it had been worth just years prior. The new owners shifted strategy, turning Gateway into more of a community hub, adding Publix, a bus terminal, and demolishing 80,000 square feet of outdoor space near the old JCPenney to hopefully improve visibility from I-95. For a little while it worked. Occupancy slowly climbed up to 87%, and the mall itself felt briefly revived. But by the mid-2000s, that momentum faded. Deals with Walmart, Target, and Home Depot had all fallen through, and newer centers like the Avenues and expansions at Regency pulled shoppers elsewhere. In a modern age, Gateway just couldn't compete, and the indoor mall slowly emptied out once again. 4 dudes all in black with big old cameras. I'm sure it definitely looked inconspicuous as fuck from the demo workers' POV, but they clearly didn't have a care in the world for us, so I can confidently say that I was thankfully able to get through all of Gateway Mall, warts and all, with this crazy short 18-minute whatever experience, being one that'll forever live in my head whenever I think of the bandos I've explored in my lifetime.
Dude, look at the cobwebs in this store right here. Oh, that is disgusting. Oh my god. Ew, you can see them all like moving in the wind.
As we catch a rare glimpse of Ethan snapping his Instagram profile pic, we're also reminded of the sad fate Gateway would endure. By 2008, occupancy had dropped to just 20%, with entire wings sitting entirely empty. In 2011, the former JCPenney was converted into the Elizabeth G. Means Medical Pavilion, signaling that the era of the classic indoor mall was over. Even the mall signage was removed. In 2012, Gator Investments took over and decided that the mostly vacant interior mall wasn't worth keeping open. After 45 years, the interior portion officially closed in late summer of 2012. In 2019, Publix shut its doors, replaced by Winn-Dixie in 2020, and a few discount retailers like Rose's, Burlington, and Five Below later opened exterior-facing stores, bringing some new life to the aging complex. Still, the grand mall that once drew shoppers from all across Jacksonville had become just a patchwork of discount shops, medical offices, and empty corridors. For over a decade, the mall sat silent, dark concourses, dusty storefronts, and long-gone anchors, all sitting empty. The eerie green lights made it feel like a glitched-out mall from the Matrix, with fragments of its identity still clinging to the walls even as demo crews moved in. But now, change is finally underway. In July of 2024, the indoor mall portion was sold to Global Building Jacksonville for $6 million. Their plan? Tear down most of the old structure, convert the former JCPenney into climate-controlled storage, and add new housing, shops, and an early learning center. The Gateway Mall many remember may soon be gone, but after sitting abandoned for so long, maybe it's finally time for something new to take its place. Do you have any memories of Gateway Mall? Let me know down below. Folks, this super short episode is already winding down, so if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on future episodes, and check out the Patreon if you'd like to support me further. Next week, instead of a mall, we're going to be featuring a completely different type of bando, as right after Gateway, we traveled just south of Jacksonville. And I'll tease a little bit of it at the end of this video, like they did for Back to the Future Part 3, and hopefully the crazy sights are enough to rope y'all into tuning in next week. But yeah, until I see y'all then, thank you so much for joining me for this short explore tonight. Have yourselves a lovely evening, and peace out, you guys. See you later.